I ain't going to be for every Gen Xer. Now, I love the Gen X nostalgia and the humor too, but that's not just what I'm about. I'm here for the Gen Xers who don't want to use their humor anymore to deflect or avoid the very real shit that's happening in our lives at this stage. I'm here for the Gen Xers who are true rebels in the sense that they are sick and tired of feeling weighed down by other people's expectations and who are fed up with just being a sheep who follows everyone else around. I'm here for the Gen Xers who don't just identify with our generation as being forgotten by the rest of society, but who identify with being forgotten to themselves, who feel like over the last 2 or 3 decades of checking the boxes of what life is supposed to look like, that they have lost pieces of themselves and no longer recognize who they see in the mirror every day. I'm here for the Gen Xers who know that what they have been doing in life isn't quite working the way that they planned, but they don't know what else to do. So if that's you, if you want to take what it means to be a Gen Xer to another level, one where we lift each other up collectively, where we stop trying to please everyone, where we stop making jokes about the hard shit that's really pissing on our lives nowadays. And if you want to truly embrace what it means to be a rebel for yourself and for the world around you, then you are in the right place.
Welcome to the Gen X Shift podcast, a show for Gen Xers who are navigating some pretty tough transitions and aren't sure how to move forward. I'm your host, Michele Walter, proud Gen Xer, former lawyer turned entrepreneur, huge Jason Momoa fan, and margarita snob. And I've navigated a lot of transitions in my life, from losing my mom suddenly to a heart attack to starting my own business. But I often did it all on my own because I was too stubborn to ask for help. Now I'm on a mission to give actionable strategies to other Gen Xers so that they can find the confidence, courage, and clarity they need to make a shift. So let's rock and roll.
Hey, Gen Xers. Welcome back to a lightning fast episode this week because I've decided to take a summer break. So I'm going to be offline and not uploading any podcast episodes until August 27th. I'm not taking a vacation, unfortunately. I just have several things that I've been wanting to work on that I haven't been able to prioritize because the podcast has honestly taken over my life, which I love. The podcast takes a lot of time for me to do every week, and I honestly do love every single minute of it. And as a one woman, one dog show, I haven't been able to focus on a lot of other things like an IRS tax audit that I just got a notice of and thankfully got a 30-day extension on. And it's a pretty low level document only audit. And still, it's going to take me a while to prepare. So I'm taking a cue from what I teach my own clients, which is to find some space in life. So during this time off, I'm going to be doing several things, which I'm going to tell you about. And I have a special invitation of something that you can do during this time off as well. I'm actually going to take this time to search for an intern to help me with the podcast. I figure with college starting back up, I can find an intern who wants to get some experience in media and production editing. And so if you know a college student who could earn some class credit through doing an internship and helping me out with the podcast, producing it for a while, let me know. And also there are some programs and fun things that I've had percolating in my head, in my crazy shiny silver object syndrome that I have going on all the time as an entrepreneur, that I've wanted to get launched and put out into the world just for you Gen Xers, and I haven't had a chance to do that. For example, there is an exciting free program that I want to launch, and I haven't had a chance to put it together yet. And this program is going to be for all the Gen Xers who have reached the point in life where you're feeling hopeless, lost, trapped, especially in your career. And you know that if something doesn't shift or change soon, that it's going to kill you or a big part of you. That you're already feeling years of your life being taken off by being in this rut where you are. So I've been wanting to put that together stay tuned if you want to find out when that's going to launch. Sign up for my emails. I'll put the link in the show notes, and you'll be one of the first to know when that free program offers. So that's one of the things I'm going to be working on, as well as my IRS audit over the next few weeks. And my invitation to you over the next several weeks, while I'm not posting any new episodes, is to catch up on the first 18 episodes, which I can't believe I actually have 18 episodes up already. So I want to also take a cue from what I encourage my clients to do, which is to celebrate the fact that I launched a podcast. I have 18 episodes up already. And I'm really, honestly, like taking that all in this moment. It's really important for us to celebrate our victories and our wins. That doesn't mean that you're going to become somebody who gets a cookie just for getting out of bed in the morning, although why not? That's okay. But there's some science behind why it's so important to celebrate your victories and your wins. It's because we are so wired to want to look for all the negative things in life, and there's good reason behind that. And over centuries and in modern society, that negativity bias has gotten hijacked to the point where we don't see any positive oftentimes. Now, this isn't about positive thinking and quick, hacky, just shift your mindset and think positive. It's really about, as Dr. Rick Hansen explains, installing feelings of happiness. And I'll post a link to his TED Talk, which I share all the time, Hardwiring Happiness. It's phenomenal. I encourage you to check it out. So the reason that we want to teach ourselves to celebrate is because we want to start to rewire those neural pathways. Start to learn to recognize not only the positive things in life, but the positive things that we do. So I am celebrating the shit out of myself that I've reached 18 episodes. I've been getting emails lately from various spammy podcast production things, and they often have statistics in them about podcasts that have failed. And one of the statistics that I found really interesting actually is that 59% of podcasts never make it past the first 10 episodes. 59%. So you can be damn sure I'm celebrating the crap out of the fact that I have 18 episodes, and I already have 4 or 5 other episodes that I've recorded. I'm going to start launching those on August 27th with some really exciting, fascinating guests who are going to challenge the way that you think and the way that you look at your life. So I'm not going to stop. I'm going to keep going with this podcast because it's something that I love. It lights me up. And although it is a shit ton of work, I know that it is eventually going to gain more traction, more listeners, that I'll be getting some other sponsors, and that I'll be able to hire folks who can help with the full-time production and editing of the podcast. This podcast has been a tremendous teacher for me. It allows me to walk the talk that I encourage of so many of my clients to do for themselves, because I encourage them, as I've done with this podcast, to find something that lights you up. Something that really gets you out of bed in the morning, that allows you to feel purposeful and fulfilled, so that when your beautiful head hits the pillow at night, you know, oh, I did something that filled my cup today, that put a ripple out into the world, that made the world a better place, whatever it might be. And oftentimes, when we find those things, they're a ton of effort. And I say effort because honestly, it doesn't feel like work. For me, there's a distinction between effort and work. I put a lot of hours in on the podcast and on my business. Way more hours and effort than I ever thought I would, or that anybody prepared me for. And it doesn't feel like work. There's still things like there's administrative stuff and all that do feel like work, that don't light me up as much, that are a necessary part of the business. But they're so small the rest of it is what really gets me going, what really fills my cup. And when you're doing something like that, it doesn't feel like work. Now, the flip side of that is because it doesn't feel like work, you can spend a lot of time doing it and not taking a lot of time off, which is where I've been lately, which is why I'm going to take my little summer break to do some of the things I haven't been able to focus on and to take a little more time off. So I love working with my clients. I love doing this podcast. I love preparing mindfulness trainings for companies. I love preparing keynotes. I love preparing personalized worksheets and resources and meditations for my clients. All of that is what gets me up out of bed in the morning. What I don't particularly love is things like social media marketing. So I'm also taking a break from social media for the next few weeks. Yep, that's going to screw my algorithms because it's all about the algorithms, which pisses me off. I don't know about you, but I miss the days of just being able to post pretty pictures on Instagram or share a cool life update on Facebook. And maybe a lot of you who aren't entrepreneurs still do that. For those of us who are entrepreneurs, social media takes on a whole new meaning because there is this expectation that you market your business on social media. Which when you think about it, not even 15 years ago, maybe, definitely less than 20 years ago, people figured out how to run businesses without social media. And so that's what I'm being called to lean into now. I'm sure there will always be a little part of my business or a part of my marketing that involves social media. And I've noticed the toll that marketing on social media is taking on me. I fucking hate it. I hate it. And so that's an indicator when I am dreading trying to post something on social media for the business, that's an indicator like, okay, that's not working for me. Let's figure out a different way. So if you're noticing something in your life that you're like, that's just not working, I really hate that thing, I dread that thing, take that as feedback, as a good indicator that maybe you need to think of a different way to go about doing this thing. And so one of the things that I'm going to be doing, and that I have been doing actually, is leaning into other ways of building community. Because really, it's not even about the marketing. I don't really resonate with marketing because I started this business, I started this podcast to build a community, to find other Gen Xers who were going through the same things, getting out and meeting people face to face, building connections, not for purposes of marketing, but because we are all kind of collectively in this, whatever this is, together, even when our individual circumstances are different. So we're all kind of in it in terms of planning for retirement or not having plans for retirement. We're all in it in terms of our bodies and our physicality and our health changing. We're all in it in terms of like our mental and emotional health. Like there's so much that we are in together. And that's what I want to do is bring us together around everything that we are going through. And I feel I can do that better and it feels more authentic for me when I'm out in the world, even if that's online on a Zoom workshop or a training, just connecting with people, even seeing their little black squares with their names feels so much better for me than being in the amorphous algorithm-driven shit show of social media. So I really want to take some time over these next few weeks to start to shift how I have approached not just building my business, but building community, building a Gen X community of people who are here to do the more introspective, deeper self-work that will support us for the next couple of decades. And let me just say a little bit something about that. I ain't going to be for every Gen Xer, plain and simple. I am not a Gen X social media content creator. There are some amazing ones out there who I hope to have on the podcast, and that's just not me. I am here for the Gen Xers who want to do this work for themselves, for their own communities, for their families, and for the world. Now, I love the Gen X nostalgia and the humor too, don't get me wrong. But that's not just what I'm about. And if that's just what you're about, that's great, but I'm probably not your cup of tea. I'm here for the Gen Xers who don't want to use their humor anymore to deflect or avoid the very real shit that's happening in our lives at this stage. I'm here for the Gen Xers who are true rebels in the sense that they are sick and tired of feeling weighed down by other people's expectations and who are fed up with just being a sheep who follows everyone else around. I'm here for the ones who are really ready to blaze their own path forward for these next few decades. I'm here for the Gen Xers who don't just identify with our generation as being forgotten by the rest of society, but who identify with being forgotten to themselves, who feel like over the last 2 or 3 decades of checking the boxes of what life is supposed to look like, that they have lost pieces of themselves and no longer recognize who they see in the mirror every day. Yeah, I'm here for Gen Xers who love the nostalgia and the humor. And I'm also curious about how, when, and where we grew up have influenced our lives, the perspectives that we have, the habits, the patterns of thinking that we have. How the cliche sayings like how Gen Xers are so tough and independent and get shit done, how those messages have actually been a disservice to us in a lot of ways and have kept us from finding the support when we really need it. I'm here for the Gen Xers who know that what they have been doing in life isn't quite working the way that they planned, but they don't know what else to do. So if that's you, if you want to take what it means to be a Gen Xer to another level, one where we lift each other up collectively, where we stop trying to please everyone, where we stop making jokes about the hard shit that's really pissing on our lives nowadays. And if you want to truly embrace what it means to be a rebel for yourself and for the world around you, then you are in the right place. And you are the community that I want to build. And yeah, we can still do that with a lot of humor and Gen X nostalgia along the way. So while I'm off air for the next couple of weeks, I want to invite you to catch up on the last 18 episodes. And if you've listened to episode 18 last week about 8 tips for making a shift in your life, you'll know that the first thing I recommend is to start a mindfulness meditation practice. Cue the eye roll. I can see it. I can feel some of you right now just like rolling your eyes, having some knee-jerk reaction to what mindfulness meditation is. And if that's you, I'd be willing to bet that you don't actually know what mindfulness meditation is. It's not the cute little memes that you see on social media or the quick, hacky bullshit stuff that others would lead you to believe about just be present and focus on your breath and your life will be amazing. That's not what mindfulness meditation is. Most people that I encounter often don't know because you haven't been properly educated on what mindfulness meditation is. I briefly described it in episode 18. And so you can go back and check that out. And here's the thing. If you're listening and find yourself saying, why would I want to pay attention to my breath? What good could that possibly do me? Or I can't meditate because my mind's too busy, or because I have ADHD, or because I have physical barriers, whatever it might be. If you're finding yourself saying something like that, then yeah, you don't have a full appreciation for what mindfulness meditation is. Mindfulness meditation, as I say all the time, is a way of life. It is how you move through your days, through your weeks, through your relationships, through your work, through traffic, through doing the dishes. It is how you are in life. It's not just about focusing on your breath because you can actually focus on other things. It's not just about sitting for several minutes because you can actually practice mindfulness while you're driving or while you're doing the dishes or in conversation. And so my invitation for you is that while we have a few weeks, while I'm kind of off air and have some downtime, is to start my 10-day Kickstart Your Mindfulness meditation practice. I recorded this a few years ago when I first started my business. It's online. You can do it at your pace. There are 10 videos, maybe a bonus one. It's been so long since I recorded it, I don't remember. About 20 minutes or less. You get access to me by email while you're working through the program if you have questions or concerns. And you'll actually learn the basics of mindfulness meditation and how it can help you with all that shit that's getting piled on top of you nowadays. If you are feeling like for example, menopause is a great invitation for practicing mindfulness meditation. So you're not able to sleep, you're getting hot flashes, you feel like crap, things are starting to ache, you're gaining weight, you have brain fog. You can learn how mindfulness meditation can help you with that, for example, by making you aware of the thoughts you're having that actually aren't supporting what you're going through, by having compassion for yourself, by learning how to change your relationship to the physical challenges that you're feeling. Take another example. If you are sick and tired of arguing with your teenager all the time, this course will teach you how to practice equanimity so that you can respond with compassion and a wise response rather than yelling or fighting, and find compassion for yourself in the middle of a challenge with your teenager. If you are miserable in your career, this program will give you the foundation for learning how to identify the unsupportive thoughts, how to make space for all of the challenging emotions that you're going through with where you are in your career right now. And again, to be able to find equanimity so that you can actually open up to all the opportunities that you might have. I created this program so that it's easy, it's accessible, so that folks can kind of dip their toe into a mindful way of life. So for my GenX Shift podcast listeners, from now through April 27th, when I launch the next episode, you'll get 50% off of this program with the code podcast50. That's podcast50. And I'll link the code and the link to the course in the show notes. So that means that you get this 10-day course for $49.50. So it's basically 2 for 1. You can invite a friend and you can both do it together so that you can create accountability for each other. And at the end of that 10 days, you'll actually be able not only to find how to practice mindfulness meditation in a way that supports you in your life, but you will also see, like, why bother? Why do it at all? Why figure out how to have a mindful way of life? Oh, so that maybe you're not so miserable while you're going through menopause, so that you can start to see more clearly about what your career options might be. So that offer, again, is only good through August 27th. So snag it now. Spend these next few weeks getting that mindfulness meditation foundation that'll support you through those shifts and transitions. And I think that's it. That's all I wanted to cover today. I'm off to go unplug for a little bit and focus on some other things that I need to focus on. Check back here on August 27th. If you want, sign up for the emails. Again, I'll put that link in the show notes so you can get announcements when new podcast episodes come out, other offers. I send out GenX tips and wisdom and some humor and nostalgia too. So you can sign up at that link. And don't forget to hit the like button if you're watching this on YouTube, and review it on YouTube, Apple, Spotify. I'm hoping to get this out on some other podcasting platforms too, and share it with another Gen Xer in your life. This is how we build the thriving community that I was talking about of Gen Xers who are ready to be this new version of rebels, creating their own path forward into this next chapter. I hope you're enjoying your summer. I can't wait to see you back here in a few weeks. And until then, stay gold, Gen Xers.